everybody. Good morning, everybody. Hope everyone's doing wonderfully well today. We are here live from the Money Show. And again, we'll watch and see. Hey, I'm going to flip to my chart there. You guys are showing the cockpit. We don't want to show the cockpit to here. We want to show charts. There we go. All right. Charts be charts. All right, so everyone, we are here live at the Money Show. We're going to be trading here today. You guys will see us in the morning. Sometimes you guys only see us in the afternoon, but today we'll be on here. Great to have you guys. Looking at charts, did you guys see the movement in the overnight? Holy cow. The futures were down on the S&P as much as 100 points on this risk of a banking crisis. And then all of a sudden, Trump decides to tweet, as we all know he loves to do, on Truth Social, basically saying, hey, we're not going to, basically he was saying 100% tariffs are not sustainable on China. We'll work out a deal. And the markets have come all the way back to basically be at the flat line. So you can see again where we are right now, but look at where we were overnight. In terms of trades today, I am going to be picking up a half position on Pfizer. We've been playing this every single day. It's been beaten down. The chart looks ripe for a bigger move. And so be ready, guys. I will be picking up Pfizer here in just a minute. Again, we'll be doing a half position, starter position. And then if it goes down about 15 cents, I'll be adding the other half. Ben, you want to give us your levels, or Drew? Or
All right, there we go. Everybody hear me? All right, good. Couple stocks I'm looking at this morning. Ally had earnings and actually pre-market already came up and filled this gap fill here at 41.97. So I'm going to increase that entry up to 42.47, looking for a short to go 1/10 position short and be looking for about 45 to 50 cents and be looking to add in that region too. Also looking at SMCI. SMCI is slowly drifting lower. It's already bounced up. It's already, just like many of these stocks, they've already bounced up quite a bit. But if we get some selling pressure right out the gate, I do have this gap fill here at $51.90. So 51.90, we'll be looking to go 1/7 long, be looking for about 50 cents there and a 50-cent add. We do have this inclining trend line. It's back up right around 51.10 as well. So those are the two stocks I'm looking at. Ben, what you got going this morning, sir?
And just a heads up, guys, I did get filled on Pfizer, so I'm long a half position at $24.23 on Pfizer. All right, right to you, Ben. Oh, Ben's having a little mic trouble here, or so we'll just continue. Lawton, what do you have, buddy?
What's going on, everybody? I'm going to be taking a long position on SOXS, at $3.99. I'm going to take a 1/5 position long at $3.99. Should that come down in the open? SOX is up a little bit pre-market, about 10 cents. So around $3.99, I'm going to go long a 1/5 position.
Awesome. All right, guys. So it was funny. This morning I woke up, I was up at 4:30 in the morning, and I was looking at the markets, and I'm like, oh, there's going to be so much volatility here. The markets are gapping lower. We're going to have this, and all of a sudden the markets just go right back to where they were basically closing yesterday. So hopefully we get some volatility here. I like Rigetti personally. If Rigetti gets back to about $50 for a short, it was as low as 44 in the pre-market here. You can see all the way down. Actually, it got as low as 41. Man, it's pulling back. It got to 40, almost 49 in the pre-market here, guys. Wow. And now it's pulled back $5 already. This thing is volatile. But anyways, I was looking at $50 earlier. NVIDIA, let's see what's going on with NVIDIA here. Down slightly. This will be interesting to see if NVIDIA confirms. I just talked about that in the game plan this morning. Does it sell off and confirm a breakdown? And then Micron's down a little bit, but I do have a big level on Micron just above 210 if it were to really surge to the upside. Okay. All right, we'll get started here. Market's opening in about 3 minutes. And we'll see. You can see Pfizer's upticking a little, but just like always, guys, I'm going to look for try to look for 30 cents on this. It's just so beaten down on a chart basis. All right.
Gareth, you said you were going to short Micron above 210. So you said, Gareth?
Yeah.
Yeah, Gareth said he's going to short it above 210, but I'm actually interested in shorting Micron if it gets above 204. If it pierces to $204, I will be shorting Micron, and I'll short that at 1/4 position, about a quarter of my day trading portfolio there. on a Pierce of $204.
Awesome. All right. I'm trying to look for anything else. I mean, earnings this morning, American Express reported that's up a little bit. Ally Financial, that's up a little bit, but nothing big enough yet to really isolate down. And remember, as day traders, we want volatility. So if there's no volatility, there's not much for us to do, which is why we love earnings season, because usually you get a lot of volatility as traders to look for these levels to hit off of. Looks like Caterpillar's slightly, about flat on the day. Dust was one yesterday, guys. That was a good one. It is bouncing sizably. If it was trading where it was last night, it was at $8.50 last night in the after hours, and it's now at $9.15. So again, huge move there, but that would have been one I would have targeted right again, just like we did yesterday, and made some good money on Dust yesterday. That was a nice trade. All right.
Rigetti continues to fall. I have a $41 level is where I'm looking at Rigetti. You're going to have a gap fill at 44.61, which it's getting in there now, or excuse me, 43.89. But because it had such a big flush before that, I like that $41 level. It's a big sell-off on Rigetti. Starting to get some volatility, like Gareth was saying, in these markets. It's really good to see.
Awesome. All right, guys. So we're just about to open. Oh, I'm hearing myself here. All right, there we go. Market's opening in 15 seconds. Let's get the party started. And we'll go here to see what we got.
Ooh, actually another minute. We're here a little bit early. It's kind of nice, guys. Get a chance to see a little bit more action moving in this pre-market.
There it is. Markets are open. Off to the races we go. Looks like Pfizer's coming down a little. Again, about 15 cents lower, so I'll be adding to that if it does get down to that level. If we look at Pfizer here on the screen, you could see huge area of support coming in. Look at this rally. It had the rally on the back of a deal with the administration, surged up massively, and it's retraced significantly into this technical level here, or coming into that level. So we'll continue to monitor that. Take a look at Dust here. Wow, Dust 932. Holy cow. Wild stuff there. Keep an eye on gold here, guys. Gold is hovering. Actually, gold's holding up here right now. Pfizer holding steady. Rigetti's getting a little bit of a bounce here, folks. Let's keep our eye on that.
SMCI got down to 52.50. Has not quite pierced that area yet. I'm looking at 51.90. Getting a decent bounce up right now. Spider's also bouncing up a little bit. Not quite at gap fill.
Good uptick in Pfizer here, guys. Let's see if it can hold it. Keeping an eye on things here, guys. Yeah, basically a flat open on the S&P there. Slightly lower, but again, very minimal drop here. And even NVIDIA's caught a little bit of a bid out of the gate.
All right, guys, I have a level for you. I'm targeting let me put my charts up. I'm targeting the stock HIMS, HIMS. HIMS, I'm going to be going a 1/5 position, a fifth of my day trading portfolio long on HIMS on a Pierce of $53.50. Should the price come down below that, I will be going long a 1/5 position that is below the pre-market low from about 4 a.m. this morning. So remember, $53.50, I will be taking a long position on HIMS should it come below that level. I'll let you know if I get filled, guys. It's about $2 away. So let's see if we can get a play there.
Nice. Micron's down, AMD's down, AVGO. So semis overall are under some pressure, but it's not a big sell. VXX, just for which is the volatility ETF, that was 42.5 early this morning. It's back to 39.5. Ooh, okay, Lowe's getting a bounce today after a major gap down. Wow.
Yeah, SMCI is still staying about $1 away from our entry. Allied didn't really pop at the open. It did decline as well. So still waiting for that pierce of the gap fill. That got up there before and pre-market, so need to wait for that level to at least pierce. Bitcoin right out the open also pushing up in the markets. Now getting close to the 106,000, but it was just there at 7:20 in the morning. It's since kind of curled over, at least put in a bull flag consolidation on the 10-minute chart. Hood got a decent bounce as well. Now trading around 129.40.
Guys, good push on Pfizer. I'm going to look to exit on this, guys, if it gets a little bit higher here. So we're now up nearing 20 cents on this, which is a nice little move on a $20, $24 stock. Now, normally, again, I would hold this for a bigger move probably, but again, being at the money show here, I'll be a little bit more distracted today, especially this afternoon. But good move here. See if it can continue. Again, when you have a chart this beaten down on Pfizer, oh, wow, look at gold dropping here. Ooh, beautiful drop. Guys, the charts are amazing on gold, not to get sidetracked off Pfizer. But again, when you have 9 weeks up in a row and it mirrors the exact setup and weeks up in 1979, I mean, it is just cool to see. Incredible. Wow, dust is popping here. Got to 943. Going back to Pfizer here with, again, a good push up.
You got a nice red bar candle high on AXP. Let me go ahead and share my charts with you guys.
Guys, SMCI is getting close, guys, near $52. Go ahead, Ben.
Yep, all right, here we go. All right, AXP. If we go up a little bit more, 341.60, $341.60. This is a great shortable area for me. I'll do it because it's a American Express. I'll do a 1/5 position. It's 1/5 of my day trading portfolio. It's got a little higher to go though.
QQQ, NASDAQ 100 just down $1.25, so pretty minimal move thus far. I wouldn't be surprised if markets roll over a little bit later today, only because, again, going into the weekend, there's just uncertainties right now between the banking issues and potential China administration type stressors. So this rally early in the day, to me, it seems a little iffy. I've seen this so many times where the markets rally back early and they can't sustain it into the end of the day. So let's watch. I'm looking actively for anything that's high enough to short, but there's not much yet. So gold flushed down to 42.50, getting a bounce back now, though, a little bit, small bounce. Come on, Pfizer, get another push here. Let's go.
So we do have a couple questions from the live day trading room coming in. Yes, $41 on Rigetti appears at 41. That's what I was looking at. Lawrence is saying big push on SNDK. We'll take a look at that. Yeah, the first level I would have on SNDK would be 150.30. It is a pretty nice push to the upside. If it pushes through that, it could. I do have an upsloping trend line. Could even go all the way up to $165. So this would be a 1/10 at 150.30 on SNDK.
Yeah, that's a nice move.
Got to 148.66. That's already fallen 2.5%. Still like that 150 psychological level though. Let's try to get through it a couple different times. There we go. All right, my charts are showing. It's a nice little doji candle on SNDK. Could be a sign of more of a top is being put in. Got some negative RSI divergence on the daily time frame. It's good to see with volatility. Love chart setups like this. I know Lawton was looking at HIMS. Let's take a look at that chart. See if anything's going on with that.
Yeah, guys, my entry on HIMS, right, showing my charts now, again, is appears to $53.50. Should price get below that level, I will enter a 1/10 position long on HIMS. We're still about $1.75 away, but I'll keep you guys updated if it gets closer to my level.
Within 20 cents away on SMCI now, folks. Looking for a 1/7 position long there at 51.90.
I think MU got above 200 and then it's just kind of chopping sideways. Never got to that 210 level that I was looking at.
I have a level on a Pierce of 204 on MU. I had told them about that I will be shorting Micron if it goes above 204. But yeah, really needs to break that 200 level mark and then hold above that level before we can get there.
Fives are pulling back a little bit here, guys. We'll see if it's just kind of pausing after that big push.
SMCI got a decent little bounce there within getting from 20 cents of our entry. So let's lower this entry just a little bit down to 51.80. 51.80. In case we get a decent flush out.
I have one more level for you guys. I will be shorting Coinbase. I'll be shorting Coinbase, a 1/5 position on a Pierce of $330. That's a gap fill from yesterday. So if Coinbase goes above $330, I will be shorting it, a 1/5 position of my day trading portfolio. All right, guys, on HIMS, we're about $1 away from our entry. Remember, below $53.50, I will be taking a long, a 1/10 position long on HIMS, below $53.50. Less than $1 away, guys. I'll let you know if I get filled.
Just like that, markets are beginning to come in a little bit here. So again, we talked about how markets, when you rally so much in the pre-market, it's very hard to keep the amount of buyers that's required to keep the markets up the entire day. And we're now starting to come in. VXX now back to 40.65, now 40.70. So things are starting to come in.
We just got to see HIMS break this $54 level, get below that level. What we don't want to see here is a bounce, right? Because if we see a bounce here, that means when it hits our level, and if it gets close to our level, then bounces, we're less likely to see that bounce if it does end up filling us. So we want to see basically a move straight down to this Pierce of $53.50.
Yep, same thing with SMCI. We're kind of getting just a little bit of stagnant price action right here on top of 52 bucks. Rather see a quick flush down under that level. Spider's still maintaining yesterday's lows.
I wonder how much of this is actually options X play, in addition to, Trump walking back everything he was saying. Could be just given an excuse for the markets to be a little bit more whipsaw today.
Yeah, that's a great point. Options X games can be played today. Just continuing to kind of scan through here, seeing if there's anything else jumping off the radar. SMH semis are down 1% overall.
Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't get filled on those two shorts on Micron or Coinbase, right? This Coinbase got a little close, about $3 away from our entry. Had a decent pullback around 1.5%. I still have an order out to short Coinbase above $330, but it looks like HIMS is getting closer, guys. We finally have broken that $54 level, 50 cents lower, and I will be taking a long position, about 1/10 of my day trading portfolio here on HIMS. See if we can get this fall, get in, and capitalize on a bounce here. Yeah, it's going to be a 1/10 position on HIMS. I know I gave a bunch of levels, but HIMS is going to be a 1/10. The reason why I'm going a little bit lighter is because you can see the stock is a little volatile today. It gives me some maneuverability should I need to add to my position. See, it's stuttering here around this $54 level. We really want to see a flush now. We do not want to see a bounce. If this thing bounces up to $55, I might have to lower my entry, right? But let's just fall down to this level, get filled, and make some money.
SanDisk pushing up again here. Did you have a level on that, Ben? Was that you were looking at that?
No, it's already pulled back enough. I'm okay.
SMCI is getting a bounce right now too. We got as low as 52.01. So now price is pushing up over 52.50. Now at 52.65. So I'm going to take that level off, at least for the time being. I'll keep monitoring it though. Now if Hood was seeing pressure earlier this morning too. If Hood gets down under 126, I would be interested in a potential long play on that. Be a 1/7 position long, but we need to see price action flush down underneath that 126 level. Pre-market, Hood was pretty low, folks. We got as low as a 123.50 on Hood pre-market, and that was around 4:20 in the morning.
Yeah, I was just going to say same thing with a lot of these other ones too, like Rigetti. I mean, to see that thing back to $41 early today, now it's back to 46 and change. It just shows you how vulnerable the markets are because honestly, they're up on a lot of hot air. I mean, things are extended.
Yeah, I agree. Just a couple tweets or little conversations can go ahead and tank the market that much, especially on some of these individual stocks that have been high flyers, right? It's just like a big hot air balloon underneath some of these stocks, pushing them up. A lot of people chasing money hand over fist. Is just propelling these prices back up. When the momentum falters, then everybody finds the exit at about the same time.
Again, guys, we're just sitting here at this $54 level. HIMS is just stuck here. We really want to see this flush. Because of this consolidation, I'm expecting a flush down into our level, right? And we see that starting to come, guys. About 30 cents from my entry. Again, I'm going to take a long on HIMS on a Pierce of $53.50. It'll be a 1/10 of my day trading portfolio. Let's get this fall and let's get this fill here.
There we go. Come on down.
Yeah, that is a nice dip on that. S&P caught another bid.
Rigetti, nice bounce off that gap fill. Nice push up, about 7% up on Rigetti. Wow.
I still think the $50 level, if Rigetti gets back to Pierce of 50, would be interesting. Again, it has to go straight there vertically, so you get the snapback, the rubber band effect. But that's a significant level here. I'll show it to you guys what I'm looking at here. Bear with me. I gotta bring up my screen. So if we take away hours, right? So essentially, what you're looking at is a former level of support becomes resistance, right? And so we can clearly see there was support here and support here. And so the idea is if Rigetti goes straight up, we should get a counter trend pullback on that. Again, the key is it's got to go vertical though, right? I mean, you want to see it within like, let's say 30 minutes go up there. But that should be a high probability setup for a short. I'll flip back to yours, Lawton. There we go. That's getting a little bounce, huh?
Yeah, HIMS is getting a little bounce. I'm still interested in this level. If it goes above $55, because I will be lowering my level. My level's still at 53.50, and just again, guys, I'm going to be shorting Coinbase above $330, about $4 away, just over 1% away. But I will be shorting Coinbase, a 1/5 of my portfolio, above $330. That gap fill from yesterday. So we have a couple trades in play. Again, I did mention I would take SOXS for 1/5 of my portfolio long at $3.99. We're about 10 cents away from that. I will let you know if any of my levels get hit. My MU order is also still out there above 204, but out of all of my trades right now, it looks like Coinbase and HIMS are the closest, right? So again, we need about $2.50 more on Coinbase, and I will be shorting that. And we need just about 50 cents on HIMS, and I will be buying that. So let's see if we get any fills here.
Lawton had his Wheaties this morning. He's ready to go.
There we go. Love it. Yeah, it looks like about 10 minutes ago, Marcus just started lifting up a little bit. We'll see if the spiders hold it. Now spiders are breaking out from the current consolidation range over the first two 10-minute candles. So starting to lift up, maybe that Friday push. Obviously, we've got options expiration. We already noted that too. Today could be price action pushing towards those desired end-of-day prices for those contracts, many of them to expire worthless.
All right, guys, heads up, guys.
So we are starting to.
Let me take this off. Sorry, Ben. We're getting a little closer to my entry. Coinbase, about $2 away from my short here. Above this $330, I will be starting a short position, about a fifth of my portfolio on Coinbase. Sorry, Ben. Were you going to say something?
All right. Trades come first, right? Give me 1 second. Let me go ahead and steal the charts. I don't even know who's got them right now. Oh, there you go. Okay. Had myself to stage. So SNDK, I know I said it was off the table. I don't really like the 150.30 level anymore. Maybe 152.50. If it pierces 152.50, I like this. So you've got this beautiful upsloping trend line that it looks like price action is staying right alongside of. And this is the third hit of it, right in this area. So it does favor a continuation move to the upside. So again, 152.50 pierce is where I'm going to institute a short on SNDK. I'm also seeing the RSI starting to creep towards 70. Hasn't pierced it yet. However, it has started taking out the all-time high, so it's now creating new all-time highs. That's good to see on this, starting to increase the volatility, and that's what we need for not only the RSI to play out, but for a snapback or a pullback, profit takers to step in for this thing. So again, 152.50 pierce, and I will short SNDK.
All right, guys, I have a couple other trades that are getting a little closer. So Micron is pushing up again above $204. I will be shorting Micron, a 1/5 of my portfolio, and SOXS starting to come down at $3.99. I will be going long 1/5 of my portfolio. I know it's a lot to keep track of, guys, but again, I'll let you know if I get filled. We're about $2 away on Micron. On Coinbase, we're about $2 away. On SOXS, we're about 6 cents away. And HIMS is just chilling at that $54 level, not wanting to play today.
The pen and pad is helpful today, folks. Go ahead, jot down those levels.
Yeah.
And put them on the watch list.
And I think what you guys are seeing here is also the extreme discipline, right? I mean, it's the stock or the trade has to hit our levels because that's the determining factor between a success rate that's going to be 75, 80% success versus just guessing and hoping and praying that it works out for us, right? So again, there's lots of opportunities, but we have to wait patiently for the levels to get hit, because otherwise we just give money to the market. And that means that we're giving money to the big institutions, the algorithms that are out there like sharks in the water that are just taking, from traders that don't have discipline. And so, there's days where you're going to have a ton of trades, and we still may. And there can be days where we have less trades because the levels just, the market is not taking things to the levels.
I think even today is a little bit more specific too, because you look at what happened pre-market price action, and the pre-market price action really flushed out price, right? And so a lot of these levels, I know when I was waking up, I was like, all right, I hope price opens right here, or at least has a little flush once it opens, because there were so many levels that were available. And then now we've moved up so much, it's really kind of put us in this middle ground land where we're taking levels from bounces on pre-market levels. So this just makes it a little bit of a slightly trickier day. What would have been great had that pre-market flush just held and or continued. If that would have just continued lower, well then we would have hit some fantastic levels. We're just kind of right in the middle of a lot of different areas that have either been tagged this morning or not far enough high to start shorting a lot of these stocks yet.
Look at this on Micron, guys. We're about $2 from our entry, having a small pullback here. It's okay. My level is still going to stay there, but we don't really want to see this pullback. My level's still there. Same thing with Coinbase, right? Got really close, about $1.25 from my level. Starting to pull back a little bit now. Still interested at those levels. And look at HIMS, guys, coming in now. I'll let you know if I got filled. Got to 53.50. My level is right below that. We need one more flush, and I will be going long on HIMS at 1/10 position. 1/10 position on HIMS. See if we get this flush and get filled here, guys. Getting close. I'll let you know if I get filled. All right, guys, I'm long. I am in. I am long HIMS. HIMS, 1/10 of my portfolio at $53.45. $53.45. I am long HIMS. 1/10 of my portfolio. Not sure what that was.
Some intro music for you, Lawton. Way to go.
So I just want to let you guys know my target on this. I'm going to look to make around 75 cents on this, right? So around 54.25, I'm going to be looking to take profits here. Should this come lower, about 75 cents below my average, I'm going to add to my position. Basically 75 cents lower, basically around $52.75, somewhere around there. See if I can get this fill, or we can just get this bounce. Checking on our other potential position, Coinbase, just sitting there, not doing much. Micron, not doing much as well. And SOXS is getting a pop here. What I'm going to do here, guys, is remove my order on Coinbase. But I'm not interested in Coinbase anymore just because it got close to our level and pulled back around $4. Now it would have to go a little bit higher. But on this HIMS trade, remember my add to this position, I went really small here, only 1/10 of my day trading portfolio. I will be adding around $52.75 to this position.
And there we have it.
So SanDisk SNDK is going to be off the table now. It did hit the 150.30 level. I was expecting it to go up a little bit higher, about another $2.50 or so. But now it's already gotten my potential pullback. I was looking for about $3, and it's there now, so that's off of the table. If it continues higher, I will look for a 155 Pierce to enter a short trade, unless we can get a retrace of the broken upsloping trend line that it just made.
So far this morning, mega caps are doing pretty well. We've only got one down 1% or more, and that's AVGO down 1.23%. Tesla up 1.1%. And those are the biggest movers. Other than that, we're really just kind of quiet. NVIDIA up 0.17%, Google up 0.26%. So we really don't have too much movement in the mega caps. Now, pre-market, again, that was a different story.
Guys, I'm looking to pull the ripcord on Pfizer here. It's just kind of stalled out, and I want to just book the profit. All right, I'm out, guys, at 24.31. Small gain on that, but we'll take it. Put it in the books right now. Again, it came down to almost my break even, and I said, you know what? It's looking a little weaker now. So I just wanted to grab the money and run. So when it got a little bit of a bounce there, I just exited on Pfizer. I can always re-enter on a pullback.
Nice trade there, G. Nice trade. Need to get this audio.
Noises when, yeah.
Again, just the way it's trading now is making me. It was strong really early on, starting to show some weakness, and so better to book the profit, as we always say. No one goes broke taking it in a profit. So.
All right, guys, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove my order on Micron Technology above 204. I'm no longer interested in that level. I am still interested in SOXS at $3.99, but for now, Micron is off the table. Let's see if this HIMS trade can play out. Yeah, not too much price action, right? We're out of the money 40 cents, in the money couple cents. But it's just kind of sitting here. Again, I have that add to this HIMS trade around $52.75. I will be throwing another 1/10 of my portfolio into this trade. But for now, Coinbase and Micron are off the table for me. Just focusing on HIMS and SOXS. HIMS coming down, guys, a little bit, about 30 cents from my ad.
If Pfizer gets below 24.20, which would be right around the lows of the day, I'm going to go back in on that, guys. There's a good level down there. I'll just do a half position like we did originally so that we have that maneuverability should it come down another 10 or 15 cents. But I continue to want to attack that based on the daily chart. The daily chart is just such a good daily chart. Pop up my charts here to show. Again, it's amazing to look. The S&P's up right now about 8 points, but was down 100 in the early, really early this morning, about 4 in the morning. Remarkable. Although I guess, guys, we've kind of become accustomed to buy the dip. That's what it always happens or seems to happen.
Yeah, and it's the power of those tweets, right? The power of those posts. It can literally sway the markets and at least change momentum near term. Let's see how these China discussions turn out. But for now, no concerns.
Yep. And I think also, so one regional bank, what we saw from Ally Financial this morning, I think that calmed fears too. It's not a lot. You're not hearing that on CNBC or Bloomberg, but regional, this Ally Financial reported, and they didn't really flag any sort of credit issues. And so that may have calmed things a little bit this morning as well. We'll see if that it starts to create any
All right,
issue.
guys, heads up on HIMS. We're about 10 cents from my ad to this position. My ad is coming up, guys, just below 52.75. All right, 52.71. I just added to my position. Added to my position here at 52.71. Flushed my level. My next ad is going to be below $52. $52.71. I just added to my position. Brings our average nicely to around $53.08. $53.08. Now, if we get in the money, right, because we have a 2/10 position, I will be taking half of my position off of the table above our break even. So let's get a bounce. But again, I'm going to be adding again under $52 should it get there. And should we get in the money on this position, I'll be removing that half I added.
Yeah, just to follow up on Ally. So Ally, their earnings this morning, they had 14.45 beat on earnings per share and then a 2.51% beat on revenue and showing 3% sales growth. So you're right, Gareth. There was at least some calming of the tensions there with one regional bank getting some rollout of good economic news. But again, we've just been like, we've been in a drought, right? We haven't had any sort of data or at least concrete data coming from the government for the past couple of weeks. On one hand, I guess that's nice, but on the other hand, it's kind of getting to the point where I think we need some of this data to continue moving forward, especially with this bearish consolidation on the spiders that's occurring. Investors don't like uncertainty, right? And when we don't have uncertainty, we're starting to form a bear flag.
Yep, absolutely, 100% right. I think that's where uncertainty meets tweets, which is now becoming a certainty, right? Well, markets are down 2%. There'll be a positive tweet out there that'll save the day. But I
Right.
mean, again, we said this yesterday, right? No one had credit crisis, bank crisis on their bingo card as of a few days ago until Jamie Dimon said something, and then all of a sudden banks are starting to say, "Uh-oh, things are going wrong here."
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, we were all kind of wondering, right? We got the financial crisis that happened in 2007, 2008. You could kind of almost see it coming, except for there was just too many too good to be true deals for people getting homes. And then all of a sudden when it happened, it happened. There was no going back, right? And then similar situation here. But the one caveat I have is that we already had this with Silicon Valley Bank. We already had some of these banks fail. The Fed stepped in and backed everything up. And so with this, when JP Morgan or when Jamie Dimon came out and announced that, I certainly did, raise a red flag that this could be an issue, especially if it's widespread. If it's contained to just a few regional banks, I think the Fed will step up and will certainly help out, just like they've done in the past. I mean, that's what we can anticipate, right? It's just what they've done before. So with all that being said, though, if there's many of them, that's going to be very difficult for the Fed to really back up. I mean, talking about an inflationary situation, then we're going to just be backing it up with more money, in essence, printing. So that'll be curious to see, like, really how widespread is it? And with Ally coming out with this good news today, that just shows you it's I guess
And
for now not as bad as what it could be.
and I think that's the big question, right? Is you get these scenarios where a crisis happens, and normally the Fed can rush in and save the day by dropping interest rates a bunch. But inflation's still 3 to 4%, right? So how much can they actually do? Are they going to be handcuffed? These, 2 more rate cuts of 25 basis points into year end, not a big deal. I mean, it's really not going to affect a whole lot. But if you get in a crisis, can the Fed really come to the rescue like they've done in the past? That'll be something we see.
Yep. I think we'll get a little bit more insight on that too when and if they do cut double, right? If they do throw a double cut out there, then obviously we got the holidays coming up. Now, parents like myself are somewhat obligated to go ahead and still get my kid my toy, but like how much is going to be trimmed? How much are these tariffs really going to start having more of an effect? We've already been seeing that. We haven't gotten the actual government data, but we have been seeing consumers tightening up on some of their spending and also extending some of their credit debt. So that's something important to note too. There's more and more people with more delinquent credit card balances. So that's starting to accumulate as well.
Yeah, so true.
A little bummer there on SMCI. Nice bounce up over $53.
SOX is coming down again.
Yeah, guys, take a look at HIMS here. Okay, we're getting closer to our break even. Let me show my charts. Getting closer to our break even. Remember, guys, above our break even, I will be removing that 1/10 position that I did add just below 52.75. Again, above our break even, I'm going to take that 1/10 I added out just so we could better maneuver through this trade. Again, back on SOXS, my entry again was at $3.99. I'm tempted to lower it. Now, if SOX doesn't come down and fill us immediately, I will be lowering that entry just because it's sat here for so long. But on HIMS, let's get this one more push up, take that half that we added out of this position, make some money on this trade. One more push, guys. Come on. Sitting at that $53 level, just pierced it again. Did not pass our break even yet. Let's get one more pop. Came really close, guys. About, I'll tell you right now, about 4 cents from our break even. One more pop. All right, there we go, guys. 53.10. I took half of my position off the table. $53.10. Maneuvered through that beautifully. Now we've lowered our risk. $53.10. I have removed half of my position. Now, we're going on a bit of a run here. Remember, I'm looking for about 75-ish cents. So somewhere above 53.75, 53, maybe a little higher. Let's move that a little higher. Closer to $54. Somewhere around $54, I will be removing the rest of my position because we've successfully maneuvered through half of our ad. I will be putting in another ad about 75 cents from our average, just slowly working that average lower, waiting for that eventual bounce here. But this is a great move up. From the lows of today, we had to move up about 83 cents. You're talking about 1.5%. So my next ad on HIMS as of now will be around $52.30, just below there, if we need that, right? Of course, I'd love this to go straight up and take a nice win on this. But if it comes down, no worries. We're in a smaller position, and we're prepared to add or take profit.
Lawton, would you mind if I get into SOX if it goes a little lower? I don't want to take, for those of you guys that are just here, this is his stock. He owns this one.
I mean, we're 2 cents from my entry. You want to
Okay,
take
all
it
right.
above
No,
there?
you do it. I didn't know if you were too tied up. All
No,
right.
I said $3.99 would be my
All right.
entry.
All right,
For
fair
1/5
enough.
long. I mean, you could take it
No,
if
no,
you
no. I
want
want
to.
you do it because I just wanted to make sure that I didn't know if because you were in HIMS focusing on that if you were going to not do it. So as long
No,
as you're
I'm
still going to
good.
do it, let's
Yeah.
do it. I put my order there too, so I'm going to join you.
Okay. Yeah, and Coinbase moving towards that 332 level. Again, I talked about this earlier. I'm not going to be taking it. I still anticipate a pullback here around that 332 pierce, but I'm not going to be taking it because I'm focusing on both HIMS and SOXS. HIMS just sitting around this $53 mark. Remember, our next ad on this is going to be about 75 cents lower around this $52.30 level on HIMS. SOXS, guys, about 1 penny from my entry. I'll let you know if I get filled here on SOXS on this 399. This is going to be a 1/5 position, a little bit of a heavier position, but I want to make some money on this. About 1 penny away, guys. Let's see if we can get this fill.
I'm sitting there too, so you can see the million shares there sitting there. That's me. No, I'm just kidding.
Let's get it, Lawton. I love it.
All right.
Getting about 1 penny away. I'll let you know if I do get filled here. I really don't want to see a bounce here. If it bounces 2 or 3 cents, whatever. But if I see like a 6 cent, 10 cent bounce, I'll be very sad. I'll be very sad here.
Now the fact that SOX is pulling back means the semis are pushing up. So this is where I'm scanning other semiconductors for potential trading opportunities. Like NVIDIA's making a big move here. All right. Maybe I'll look to trade. If we get NVIDIA a little bit higher, guys, I'm going to look to short. All right, a Pierce of 183.50, guys, on NVIDIA. I'm going to short a 1/6. 183.50 Pierce above. So if it gets just above, I'm going to put my order just above there. In a second, I'll show my chart. I just got to get my order out there first. Bear with me.
It's all right. I got my chart on NVIDIA right now. up with
Okay,
them.
cool.
And look at NVIDIA start to pull back, and SOXS beginning to push up. We really don't want to see this go above 406 because that's really what I would have looked for, about 6 cents. Doesn't seem like a lot, but 6 cents on a $4 stock is over 1%. A 1% move. My order's still at $3.99. And looking back at HIMS still not doing too much. Comes down, we'll add. If it goes up, take our money. MU, look at this pullback on MU, guys. From the high of the day, pulling back. Now, this is what's likely. And you look at NVIDIA too, some of the other chip stocks. That's likely what's causing stocks to move higher here. Tag that 406. I'm leaving low at 399 for now, but if it goes a little more higher, I'm gonna have to lower that.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. We're getting the bounce and the pullback even on NVIDIA. NVIDIA got to 183.13, so it was about 40 cents from my entry.
So how often do we do this? Live day trading room stuff.
Pretty much every day, Monday through Friday when markets are open, and we have a blast. Just wait till the afternoons. We're not doing it today in the afternoon, guys, but normally we're taking shots and no, I'm just kidding. So we have done that before, but it's usually when what's the rule? Is it
It's a
if you get
If we
$10,000
have
trade.
a $10,000
Yeah,
winner, we'll take some shots.
yeah. And then it's usually just maybe one of us or two of us, that take a shot. But still, regardless, it's worth it. It's worth it for the $10,000 single trade in a single day. Yeah, we'll take a shot to celebrate. It's
Yeah,
enough
it's not a
stress in here.
combination. It's not like you can't do 3,300 on 3 trades. It's got to be one stock 10K.
Right. However, there is a 3 trade rule too. I can go hit the driving range after 3-day trades in a row. So,
But
go
it
ahead
has to be on the same stock. The hat
That's
trick.
right. That's right.
The
That's
hat
right.
trick.
Yep. The hat trick sends
So.
me to the golf course, which makes it easy here, guys, because we're at Champions Gate. So it's not that bad.
So get to it. Come on, Drew. Get some trades. Let's go.
Hey, yeah, I was looking at
Is there a golf course around here?
a couple of them. Yeah, a couple of them. Man, I was looking at Wing, was looking at Hood, was looking at SMCI, Ally too. Ally really just came out was a little bit of a stumper. It just gapped up higher and really hasn't done too much. Still trading within the same 10-minute candle as its opening candle. One thing I want to show you guys here. Let me display this. This is the heat map of the Russell 2000 with finance. Yesterday, this was just red. I mean, this was a nasty sea of red. Then we can see here too, just like Gareth and I were talking about, since Ally has pushed up, has had good news, we're seeing the rest of the market starting to lift itself up too. Yeah, we've got some reds in here. We've got SLG down 2.6%, STEP down 1.29%. But aside from that, it's now bouncing back strongly. So, and then we flip over to Ally, right? And then so we take a look at that. And Ally, there we go. Ally here, as I mentioned, is all still trading within his first 10-minute candle. Every single tick has all been contained right here. So it's not really got the volatility, but for the one thing that's positive for it, it's actually up, right? It's up 3.24% on the day. If we go back to the daily chart, it's still down here in this range. Ally's got a long way to go before we really have some stiff resistance moving up here near the $44, $45 range. That'll be more of a daily resistance area, and that would be a significant beat for it. But if it does beat, you almost have somewhat of a minor inverse head and shoulders pattern going on. Ally could definitely be retesting the 5650, but then that's again if we don't have any of these loan issues that arise, because even if it's not Ally specific, if several of these other regional banks start getting hit, Ally will also start seeing pressure too. We flip back to the monthly chart, you can see a little bit better where price is getting rejected, at least at the current state. Probably likely to build momentum before we attack this area again.
NVIDIA's getting up there, guys. It's getting closer, about 40 cents away again. My entry right now that I have, I'll give you guys my exact order. It's at 183.57, and it's a 1/6 position short if I get filled there.
Look at this, guys. Take a look at Coinbase. What a nice fall. Look at my level up here around 332. Again, I wasn't going to take it, but beautiful fall. About $4 drop, just within 30 cents of my level. I mean, and HIMS, guys, it's just sitting here, sitting at that $53 level. Something that's encouraging to me, though, you see, stocks like Nvidia and Coinbase starting to pull back, but HIMS is kind of sitting and consolidating at this level, and that could mean it could be gearing up for a further drop, which is fine. We're in a small position, and we have plenty of maneuverability. But as you can see on my chart, I have this kind of downsloping trend line. If we can break above that and hold above this $53 level, I think that's really good for our trade. But considering we're flat on a stock that's down 11%, I'm very comfortable in this position. Just looking for that eventual move higher. And back to SOXS, guys. Take a look at this. Came within 1 penny of my entry, moved up 2%. I mean, sometimes that happens. It's would have been nice to get that fill, of course. I'm going to be lowering my entry on SOXS because of that. Because it came a penny from my entry, I'm going to be lowering it about 3 pennies. So $3.96. Should SOXS come down there, I will take my level high there on SOXS. Let's see if we can break this down sloping trend line, guys. We want to break and hold above this. Look for that pop here.
Nvidia close to my entry, guys. Knocking in the underbelly here. Came within 12 cents of getting filled. Come on, one more push up. Let me throw it over to my charts here real quick so I can show you guys. So basically what I'm doing is I'm looking to play this little pivot area right in here, essentially a pierce, which is what we're getting now. I put my order right there, and then my next add would be right up in this range, basically $1 higher. I'd be looking to dollar cost average.
So did you get filled on Nvidia?
Let me check here. No, I had it at 183.57. I don't think I got filled yet. Nope, not yet. It went to 183.53.
It's 4 cents. It's okay. It'll get there, right?
If it pulls back much, I'm raising it, man. Make them come to me. That's like trading 101. Never let the market dictate. You always stay in control. If they're going to play around with you, you play right back. Oh, gosh, look at that. Something like Nvidia, I'd probably look for $1 pullback on that. That would be in general what my target would be if I get filled. Still left my order out here because it's pushing back up. Let's see if it gets there. Pfizer's inching down. I'm still interested if it gets down to 24, below 24.20. So far, I think our exit hasn't gone higher than where we exited, so that's nice.
Mohammed asking about hourly head and shoulders on Tesla. I see what you sent over there, Mohammed. In the hourly head and shoulders, it's the right shoulder. Is it just a little bit too low? Here, I'll show that to you too. So this right shoulder, basically you were highlighting this right here and had a trend line going through basically this way. With that deviation, it still could play out, but that would be something where I wouldn't be paying attention to it as much. I know it would be a quick dip there, but what I'm mainly paying attention to with Tesla, and this has more to do with the robotics play with Tesla, with Optimus, but you notice this on the screen, we've got a massive inverse head and shoulders pattern on the Tesla daily chart. Now, we've already had this happen before. And for those that may not have seen this, you can see this displayed here on the chart, especially if, let me click back to the weekly time frame.
Let me just jump on here real quick, guys. I raised my order on NVIDIA to 183.73, pulled back about 30, 40 cents. And so I'm going to play it safer and push my order up a little bit. If they run it up, I'll still take it. But again, this pullback, I mean, it's kind of in that range of now raise that order, and that's what I did. In fact, now it's almost 50 cents of a pullback. All right, sorry, Drew.
Oh, no. Hey, trades come first, man. Trades come first. I was just helping some of the members out. And that's also for some of our audience too. That's one of the great parts about being a member. We have a chat dialogue with them too. So any questions that they do have about positions, or if they want us to check different levels, we're happy to do so and answer those questions. And typically once some of the day trading activities settle down a little bit. But as you see here, it's usually about 10:30 in the morning. But anyway, so on this chart with Tesla, you can see I've got a weekly time frame here. Here was the previous inverse head and shoulders pattern that played out almost perfectly. The target was right around $480. Well, now Tesla, now this is a very sharp inverse head and shoulders pattern, but it still displayed another one again. So this measured move could take Tesla all the way up to 512.97. And if you notice over the past 4 weeks, we've been putting in nice consolidation in this area. Now, consolidation patterns, etc., can all fail. So that's why you've got these support levels 395 and especially right here 381 and 37 cents. Even if price declines down to these support levels, the measured move target would still be intact. So this is an opportunity, more of a longer term play for Tesla to potentially reach up here above $500. But that's what I see on the chart. It could be some near term price decline, like you pointed out, Mohammed. However, at the same point, we've got another similar situation right here with another hourly inverse head and shoulders pattern. Now we're deviating here on the neckline, so I'm not holding as much weight with the measured move, but at least this is starting to put in a springboard type play with today's last hour, especially really surging up there for Tesla. So this is a nice push up, still all, within a daily time frame, just still contained within this consolidation. But on the hourly, you can see that we're actually getting the pretty decent push plus this break. So I would hang off potentially on executing any sort of short with that pattern that you found. All right, I'll flip it back to NVIDIA.
So back to HIMS, you saw I was talking about this downsloping trend line here. Finally broke up and out of that, and look where we pulled back. Just basically a pierce of this pivot high, right? Coming back down, I'm anticipating a bounce on him somewhere around 52.70. Should it get down there? Nice move up, right? It's higher than this pivot, right? Which we knew was going to be some resistance, right? So what we want to see is either a retrace to this and a push up, or just another push higher, right? This is the line in the sand, though. This line here around $53.30 is currently going to be the line in the sand for our trade. And one more thing, look at Coinbase, guys. Wow, look at this fall on Coinbase, falling about almost 2%, right? Just cents away from our level. And SOX as well. A penny from our entry, 2% bounce. It's the way it goes sometimes, though. Coinbase continuing to fall here. Let's take a look at the Qs and the S&P. They're starting to fall down a little bit. Have an upsloping trend line here that the S&P and the Qs are all putting in. Now that we've broken it, I'm anticipating a move lower on both the S&P and the Qs. And likely that would cause our HIMS to go a little bit lower, but we again have that add down here around $52.30. HIMS hasn't been moving step with the S&P, so this pullback shouldn't affect HIMS too much, right? But we need to get above this $53.30 level if we're going to get this winner on this trade. And look at this SOX, guys. 10 cents.
It's
From
blasting.
that $4 level.
Yep. It's blasting.
from what I'm seeing, I'm going to share my charts with you guys quick. So I'm seeing this price pattern a lot. Let me minimize this side right here. All right. So what I'm noticing in the RSI chart pattern is not only is the price action continuing lower, but look at how weak the RSI is. So when price action stays low and the RSI stays low on the 1 minute or the intraday chart pattern, then this is a bearish consolidation pattern. So the RSI is a movement or a momentum indicator. So this is indicating that because we can't take out any high pivots, that it's likely to head lower. So we're seeing this on Oracle, QBTS, RGTI, a lot of different stocks. So we could see a continued sell-off throughout the rest of the day. What we're going to need is the RSI to then pierce the 30 again, with the price action starting to take out some pivots, and then the RSI heading up towards the 70. Once we can do that, then we could likely push higher. But in the meantime, right now, this is very bearish for the stock market.
Gareth, are you going to be taking Pfizer? I see Pfizer's coming down a little bit.
I got my order out there right below 24.20. If it gets there, I'll let you guys know if I get filled. But yeah, I'm definitely keeping an eye on that.
It's like right there. It's about a penny away. It was even, about a penny
I
away
know.
from that 24.20 level.
Yeah, I think this, Pfizer's such a weird one. It's kind of a defensive name, but then it sometimes doesn't act like a defensive name. But overall, it's just that chart on the daily chart that I care about, the daily setup. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and cancel my order on NVIDIA. I don't like it anymore. It's just chopping around here. That springboard move into that resistance. So, all right, let me click the button, cancel. All right, order canceled. But I do still have an order out on Pfizer. I did cancel my order on SOX for now as well, since it got the big bounce. So just waiting patiently to see if we'll get filled on some Pfizer. Be a half position again.
And look at HIMS here, guys. It pushed up and bounced off this down sloping trend line, right? Let's see if this level can hold. Again, our ad on HIMS, right, for another 1/10 is going to be at $52.30. Just below there, I will be adding another 1/10 position. And just like last time, we're going to maneuver through it. If we get that ad, we'll take half off, slightly in the money, slowly working our average down to capitalize on that eventual bounce. Of course, I'd love the bounce to just be right now, but doesn't always happen like that. And look at SOX, 414. Jeez. And Coinbase coming down.
Yeah, decent 10-minute sell candle coming in on the spiders and the Qs.
Of course, Pfizer wants to dance around my entry and play hard to get here. That's fine.
See, the markets were just moving up right here in the last 30 minutes, and then this 10-minute
Nothing
candle
comes
got to
within
6.5
1
minutes
penny and
left.
doesn't fail you.
It's just coming straight back down.
Yeah, it's a good sell on NASDAQ here. NASDAQ 100 starting to come in. We're just basically flat on the day now, though. After, again, if you look at, man, let me show my charts here. This is just so remarkable to look at this. Like when I look at this chart, I mean, that is a picture perfect bear flag. Oh my gosh, on the daily chart of the QQQ. I mean, if they can somehow rescue this market and get it above in the next week or so, I'll be impressed. But man, that chart probably 70% favoring the downside for a major breakdown or close. There's close to something going on here. And the question is, how many more OpenAI deals can they really announce to save the day, right? I mean, every other day it's Walmart, it's AMD, it's NVIDIA. But at some point, it has a diminishing return. Nice pullback, guys. So Nvidia, I didn't get filled on Nvidia. Nvidia ended up pulling back $1, basically, actually a little over $1. So that would have, if I had been filled, we would have gotten our target of $1 out of it. You know, c'est la vie. But it was a good level, just didn't get filled.
And look at Hood or Hims, guys, popping back up just off of that down sloping trend line, back almost to our break even. Again, 53.84, somewhere around there, looking for about 75-ish cents on this stock. Hopefully we get the bounce now that it's hit that down sloping trend line. The more times it hits this trend line and bounces off of it, the less likely it is to hold. So next time it comes down, should it come down, I'm not really anticipating it to get another bounce off of this down sloping trend line. I'm actually expecting it to pierce. And then we would get our ad should that happen. But again, guys, it needs to get above this key $53.30 level. There's a bunch of resistance there. Now, if we can flip above that and hold above that, that $53.30 previous resistance then becomes support, helping out our trade. But we're just knocking on that $53 level, just our break even. Again, you see how much consolidation has happened here the whole day. Not the most exciting trade.
For a stock that's down 11% on the day, you would think you'd have a lot more volatility in that thing.
I know you're expecting, okay, you're down 11% today. You've traded 20 million shares, and what we're gonna do is stay in the 20-cent range for an hour.
Especially, yeah. Well, especially after that huge pop that it had a couple days ago. You know, you'd think there would be some continued buyers stepping up. Where are the buy the dippers in this thing?
So and this is what I don't understand, right? News is saying that Hims is down because they announced a new menopause care program. So it's like they're announcing new products, and that's causing the stock to fall. I don't really understand why that is, but I mean, I'll buy it.
I mean, that actually did help the stock pop the other day with that news.
So I think so. There's a caveat here, right? So let me show my chart. So what I heard anyways on these weight loss. So Hims does the weight loss drug thing, and essentially Trump made an agreement to, or basically putting pressure to lower the cost of those weight loss drugs. So if you flip over to mine here, let me just grab it. Oh, I got it. All right. So you see Eli Lilly, right? Look at Eli Lilly down today, big. And that's really part of that. So I think Hims is actually getting hit on that news as well, as I think one of the main things that they do is supply those weight loss drugs. And so it's coming in as well. And then was it Novo NVO? Was that the other one that does it? Novo Nordisk. Yep, that's down about 4% today too, which is pretty decent move for that stock. Pfizer guys went to 2020. My order was at 2420. My order was at 2019. It's creeping up again. Today have missed by a penny or so, but that's okay.
The last 2 10-minute decline on the spiders and the Qs. Bitcoin is also starting to come in now, trading under 105,000.
Do you guys have levels where you'd start buying Bitcoin, like in the near term for a bounce at least? Anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Here, let me show my chart. Pull it up over here for you, buddy. All right, here's the Bitcoin daily chart. Now, if you see here, we're actually coming into a significant area of support at the moment. We pierced it overnight, and you can see here displayed there up on the TV screen. We've got this longer term parallel channel that Bitcoin's been in for basically the entire year. We had a deviation here during the April sell. Then we got back up inside this parallel. Now we've gone up, hit the top, pierced it now 3 times, and have gotten rejected. We're now coming back down to the bottom side of this parallel, also with this declining trend line that has provided support. So this area, you can even see it when I zoom in, that price did pierce this area, but price is fighting to get back above. So I think this area, this is the first test for Bitcoin, and one that's going to be a big one, right? Because we've got this inclining parallel that's been holding price for quite a while. And plus, there's a lot of bulls in Bitcoin, a lot of new companies in Bitcoin that are really basing their entire business around Bitcoin. So they're going to be anxious and they're going to be eager to be stepping up to the plate and buying on support levels. So if this level gets beaten, where's the next support level? Well, you can basically measure it from this downward move and sideways chop consolidation. This is a bear flag, and that bear flag produces a move down here to this inclining trend line just under $98,000. And I think if this were to happen, say if we do have continued selling, especially over the weekend, coming into that $100,000 mark, that was about the time we started having a lot of announcements earlier this year of a lot of these companies getting heavily involved in the Bitcoin space, whether it's Bitcoin mining or just buying, accumulating Bitcoin and using that as collateral for different projects. So I really think that if price comes down here, we're likely going to have a lot of people step up. And if they don't, I think that's really telling that we're going to see a lot of pressure. So basically right around $198,000 if this level breaks. And I heard you mention that too on the game plan, right around 97, 98,000. And I mean, that's going to be a critical spot for Bitcoin to the near midterm direction of that price.
Sorry, Drew. Look at HIMS. There we go, guys. Finally get a break of that $53.30 level. Right, got as high as $53.44. I want more. I want at least $53.83. I want about 75 cents here. Let's continue this move up. Now, this $53.30 level was resistance 1, 2. Finally broke it. Let's see if we can hold above it and turn this resistance into support here.
Love it, man. Good stuff.
50 cents, guys. We need 50 more cents. Let's take this win.
Yeah, and just quickly going back to Bitcoin, Drew, one of the things that for me is so dramatic is that this is really the uptrend. So you had obviously the top in 2021 and then the bear market, but this really marks the uptrend around 95,000. So if Bitcoin breaks that, you could argue that it's broken its uptrend. So it's imperative that 98, 95 area holds for bulls. Otherwise, things could get messy.
Yeah, where's that trend line originate? All the way back?
So it's basically going back to these lows, connecting each major pullback, just connecting those two lows right there. And what's interesting here is you guys know I love my parallels. Well, look at the recent break trend line parallel to that line.
Yep.
And so it really signals it should come into that level, at least test it, and then we'll have to see if it breaks or not. For me, I'll probably buy Bitcoin there for a swing trade and then look for a bounce of 5, 10K and then exit and then kind of watch to see does it then break lower at that point.
Yep.
All right, guys, 30 cents away here. A little more. Let's see if we can get this fill. Just something to note, guys, VWAP is right there, right? VWAP is right around our exit. So I do anticipate some resistance around there. I'm looking for basically just a slight pierce of VWAP about, let's go to this. Let's go here.
Are you so I got to ask, you going to hold your breath?
Yeah, so my signature is holding my breath until the position
until he gets to target.
All right, if it gets to 53.70, I'll hold my breath until we do it, or
you don't have to. We don't.
Dead,
I don't think we need to call emergency services today.
No, it's and
just kidding.
This trade's gonna be perfect. It's gonna go straight there. It's not gonna pull back. It's gonna go straight to my exit, fill everybody, and we're all gonna make $1 million, right? So it won't even matter.
I
all
love
right, guys.
the confidence.
20 cents away, guys.
Come on, go.
Do not pull back, or pull back, whatever.
It's gonna go within 1 cent of your exit, and then it'll pull back, but then it'll hit it afterwards.
But if it does that, I gotta raise my exit. Be like, all right, everyone wants to front run me. I know you guys probably have 1 million shares in this, right? Then I'll just raise it and make more money.
Check in on the S&P here just to see what's going on. So S&P's pulled back off the highs of the day. Looks like we got as high intraday as around 66.60. We're back to about 66.30. So it's about a 30-point fall, which normally that's actually pretty big, but with the volatility we've seen lately, it's only kind of a blip on the screen. The one thing I would just point out here as we're waiting for this target to hit on HIMS is that you could argue that you're making a little bit of a bear flag on the S&P today. So intraday, look at that. Look at the parallel channel right there. So down move, inside bar. You break this lower area, like let's say we start trading below 66.20, we could get back to the lows of the day today. So just something to keep an eye on.
Interesting.
Now, again, you know, this is where it gets tricky, right? So, you know, and for those of you guys here, you see the pattern, and then you have to say, okay, well, the pattern's the pattern, but then what are ancillary aspects? So options X today, which weird things can happen on options X. Then you have the afternoon Friday float. So I mean, it's not as easy as just saying, oh, it's a bear flag, let's short it and make money, right? It's you have to kind of take into account a lot of these other things, and you still may choose to short it, but you just want to be aware of all the risks.
That's where experience comes in to pay and save a lot of money.
So look at this, guys. Look where HIM's pulled back right this pivot high. So we have a new line in the sand, and it's 53.65. If we can get above there, I mean, we should be okay. And there's that 53.30 level I was talking about. We pierced that. You know, we were unable to get above it here, unable to get above it here. Finally got above it here, and now this level is support instead of resistance, which is what I was talking about previously. Now, only about 30 cents away, 30 to 40 cents away. We need to get above this 53.60 level and this 53.75 level. And we should be good to go. Now I want to hold my breath, but I'll wait a little bit.
I'm actively scanning for other things, guys, but it's just not enough volatility right now in other things.
Yeah.
So.
And it is a little bit
Oh,
of
there
a
goes
shame.
PFE though.
Ooh.
Yeah. You know, one penny from my entry.
Well, 1 penny from Lawton's too. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just that's the nature of trading.
Pennies, right? A penny doesn't seem like a lot, but it's the difference between getting filled or not.
Right.
Then it's a lot. And him just coming back down. All right, well.
It's because you haven't held your breath yet. Come on, let's go. You can also
true.
stand on your chair.
Not yet. I'm not going to stand on my chair yet. We'll save that for a
No,
little
okay.
later. All right, back to our break even. It was so close, 20 cents away. It's all good though. My next ad on this is going to be 52.30 if it comes down there. But would love to just see this thing perk up. And Garrett talked about a potential Friday float. That's good for us, right? Because I'm long, so it should float up.
Yep, absolutely. Wes asking, where can you look up to find out when options X happens? You just simply Google it. You'll see. It's typically the third weekend there or third Friday in the month.
Yeah, third Friday of the month. And then the quarterlies is the triple witching.
That's right.
So those are even more powerful. And the idea, again, is with options X, it's that the institutions sell a majority of the options to the public, right? So it's very rare you meet an investor who's like, oh, I sell options, I sell puts and calls. It's usually we're buying puts and calls. And so the institutions sell it. And so they know exactly where they need the stock to go into options X to maximize their profit. Because remember, they're taking in a premium when they sell that option contract. And so there is some shady business that goes on around options X to try for the institutions to figure out, if we spend $10 million pushing this stock into this level, will we make 30 million because of that? And that's really the games of options X. And so we, as listen, I buy calls and puts myself sometimes, but I'm always aware of these pitfalls, at least when I go into them. I know the game that's going to be played around options X.
Yeah, if you're going to play that game, you might as well know the rules, right?
That's right.
Yeah, but like Gareth was saying, the quarter in options expirations are the bigger ones, and they're going to be occurring there, March, June, September, and then December. This month, just your normal options expiration. And really some of the weight of options expiration really was sucked out when they started having these 0-day expiration options, those intraday options. It really, a lot of volume went into it. There was even an article this last week saying it was actually on last Friday, some of the heaviest call volume on options have been purchased in all time. Really quite remarkable. So
I read that, Drew. I read that, and what was crazy about it is it shows how much retail investors are just rushing in to buy every dip. Like it was the most call buying volume that they'd ever seen in terms of contracts ever in history, and it was done on the last Friday when we fell, and it was retail investors that were just like buy the dip, it works. And in all fairness, it's kind of worked this week. I mean, maybe not as robustly as some people would want, but at some point, what that tells us is that at some point it's not going to work because they're trying to lure in every last person to believe the markets can't go down before it gets flushed and they do go down.
yeah,
Crazy.
that's right. And for hitting a record when we're at our all-time highs. I mean, this stuff kind of scares me. When I read that too, I'm like, of course, that's more of a signal of a top, right? But when you look at this chart, and I'm going to remove you just real quick, Lawton, but you look at the S&P 500 on the weekly time frame, look where we are, folks. We're all the way up here at the top of the parallel. Like, I understand if people are bullish. I totally get it. And I understand if retail investors are bullish on certain things. I can understand that too. But if I'm going to have a record day buying call options, if this is happening in the market and it's happening up here, like, ooh, that's a little bit scary. I can understand it down here. I can even understand it right here. Say once we beat this pivot high back in July of 2023, I can understand, okay, look, we're about to start breaking out, a lot of call options being purchased. But up here, that's a little frightening. That's telling me either these people that are buying these options either know a lot that I may not, or they don't know how to read technical analysis, because it's clear right here on the chart. Even with that dip that we had on Friday, it's I would be very hesitant to be going long any sort of call options up here in this realm. I mean, you may get lucky, but geez, the odds and probability all favor price action coming and filling this space that's completely empty away from all of this resistance.
I mean,
Yeah.
think about it like this. Like if you go to the casino and you're playing roulette, they got the big board there being like hot numbers, cold numbers. You're like, dude, it's at 17 9 times out of the last 50 spends. Like, just put it on there, right? Like it's happening. So let's just keep going.
That's exactly the psychology of the investors, right? And that's what's listen, it works for a chunk of time. There's no doubt. Like, I mean, the markets have been, but there's a way that the markets, and I've experienced this so many times on the wrong side many times too, where you just get lulled to sleep by thinking it can't go against you. It's just always going to do that. And by the time you leverage, it's when so initially you're like, all right, I'm just going to try this a little bit. It works. Try, all right, a little bit more money. All right, works. All right, a little bit more money. All right, all my cash. And then it's like, oh, it worked again. I'm going to 10x this, right? You break out that crypto 150x leverage, and guess what time? That's the time it doesn't work, and it wipes you out. It's pretty incredible.
Speaking of, isn't that what happened last Friday with the crypto markets? Oh, huge.
Not to us, at least.
No,
Yes.
no. We were no, we didn't get wiped out, but there were a lot of people.
Short, yeah, net short, yeah, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, that's just the way the markets work. Amazing how they work that way.
Lulls the people in, just almost kind of like a predator, hypnotizing its prey. And you see here too, this declining trend line we brought up earlier on Bitcoin, that now price is getting back above, folks. So this level is going to be significant for the most immediate near term. You can see price on the 10-minute too came up, pierced it, and then the last 20 minutes we made a poke up. Now actually starting to come back down. So we're just battling right here. The bulls and the bears battling it out.
And guys, sorry, Drew, take a look at this on HIMS. HIMS creating a head and shoulders pattern, actually bearish for the stock. But we do have our ads. So this is the head and shoulders pattern. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Let's see that measured move here.
That's right. A measured move, baby.
A measured move. All right. So to find the measured move, let's take the neckline. I know my chart is a little insane, but see that measured move from here. So just basically right below our next ad, right? Basically a measured move to around the 52.20 region. Again, my ad is going to be right here around 52.30, $52.30. I'm going to remove some of these lines. But again, 52.30 is going to be my next ad. Got so close, guys. 20 cents away from my exit. See the S&P starting to fall. Q's starting to fall as well, breaking some upsloping trend lines, and that selling pressure is likely what's causing HIMS to fall a little bit.
Yeah, and take a look here, guys. Remember, we just talked about the potential bearish inside bar, even though it's a Friday and stuff like that. But it looks like it's starting to come back in and maybe start to break down here out of the bear flag. And so again, the flagpole right down here, inside bar, and there's your break at this point. And again, we just don't know because it's a Friday. It's a little bit trickier with options X as well. But in normal times, this pattern should play out and actually take out the lows of the day today. What'll be even more interesting is if we look at this here, we've now tagged this low here twice. And if we come down, I mean, that would be a huge move, but that's where you have to close below to confirm a market top in my view. See, we have to get below basically 65.50 on the S&P. So we'll see. But yeah, things starting to turn down here.
All right, guys, we're about 15 cents, 20 cents away from my ad. Remember, that's going to be 52.30. Right now, HIMS is staying above its low of the day. If it can pierce that, we'll likely get our fill. Remember, my ad is just below $52.30. Another one temp, just doubling my position because we did take that half off slightly in the money, slowly maneuvering through this position here. Remember, guys, a pierce of $52.30 will be that ad for me on HIMS. Dude, if this thing gets 20 cents for my exit and then 20 cents for my ad, that would be very sad.
Stocks back to 417.
Yeah, what a beautiful push up. Again, penny from our entry.
Guys,
Yeah, same with Pfizer.
yeah, I just was going to mention I did cancel out my Pfizer at 24.19 at this point just because again, there's not enough volatility right now. So it's coming back in, but we need volatility. Like we got about a 10-cent bounce there off that 24.20 level. And now as it creeps down, listen, if it goes 5 or 10 cents lower than it was, yeah, maybe at that point. But right now I've canceled that order.
Shooting while it is already 11 o'clock.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, it does. These morning sessions seem to keep going faster and faster, folks.
Yeah, I don't know about fun. This seems straight. I don't know if I'd exactly call this exhilarating, but it's all right.
And it's how trading goes. They don't all work out with the easy button. I had the easy button for a while, and then I've loaned it out, apparently. Benny Boy, yesterday you had a fantastic day with easy buttons first thing in the morning. A lot of good quick trades.
Yeah, those are a lot more fun than watching HIMS do nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, guys, it's down 11%, 24 million shares traded. Just do something. Move up or down.
Well,
Just do something.
2 days in a row too, right? I mean, collectively, I think it's down about 18% in 2 days. So that's a pretty steep fall. But Vincent's saying, I love Mr. Lawton's energy today. I do too. I like Lawton's energy today. Michael's saying, isn't it a measured move? Yeah, you better believe it is a measured move. MAYSURED. Yep. That's how it's said in my head and out of my mouth.
All right, so we got some time. Let me explain why I got into this position, how I found my initial entry point on this position. So I initially entered this HIMS trade at a price around $53.45, right? That's somewhere around here. And if you take a look, and I'm going into the extended trading hours, you can see that's just below the pre-market lows, right? The lowest point that it got at 4 o'clock this morning. That's a level that I anticipated to see a bounce. Now, how did I choose my 75 cents for my ads? I know generally I like to take around a 1% gain in my direction. The stock is down 10%. I thought that, well, at that time it was down closer to 9%. But I thought, okay, it's down 9%, a 1% bounce in my direction should be achievable, right? So that's how I found that around 75-cent level for my ads and my take profits. It didn't work out perfectly, but we did get that ad. We're able to maneuver through it, and that's just why I took half off slightly in the money, right? Because my trading style is a little bit more conservative. I like to make sure that I'm in the smallest position possible in order to have the most amount of maneuverabilities, and that's why we're only in a 1/10 right now. Again, about 20 cents from that ad on HIMS. 52.30 still has not yet made new lows of the day, right? Those lows of the day were made around 10:09, around that $52.45 level. Looks like it might be pushing for that now, about 4 cents away here. It's going to flush down into our level, get that ad, and then push up nicely here.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. I mean, if the markets really start dumping out, we'll get some other opportunities. But I mean, again, now we're bouncing back on the S&P a
Take a
little
look
bit.
at that, guys. HIM's coming down a penny from my entry, from my ad. I'm looking for below 52.30, so just appears to that. So a couple cents away from my ad, but it hit 52.31. Let's get one more push down, get our fill, and then maneuver through the rest of this position. See if we can get filled here, guys. It'll be another 1/10 position here. Oh no, don't bounce here. That would be so sad. If it bounces above 52.70, oh, it would have got to our break even. Okay, that's not very nice. That's not very nice. Your million shares were filled. All right, because of that, I gotta lower my ad a little bit. Bounced 1 penny from my ad. Are you kidding me? All right, I'm lowering it below 52.25. Wow. If we got that fill, guys, we would have already taken half off for a slight profit. But that's the way it goes when you have so many people copying your trade, I guess, and putting their entry
Not
1 penny
copying.
above
I think
yours.
it's called front running.
Front running, exactly, front running.
See, I think, Lawton, that people came here to watch you work today. They didn't want to give you the easy button. They wanted to see how a professional navigates a trade the way you're doing it right now. So if you would have gotten filled, you would have already taken half off. But they want you to sweat a little bit, and I think they've made that happen. So there you go.
I can't believe it. This 1 penny. It's a $53 stock. 24 million shares traded. Oh. And I see people in the chat saying, sorry, Lauren, I got filled at 52.37. I got filled here. But I really enjoyed your analysis. Well, you know what? It's all good. It's fine. I'm going to get filled lower and I'm going to make more money than you. So it's fine.
So it's fine.
I'm a really competitive person. So when I see messages like that, I'm like
Now I got to do
a
better.
little angry, but it's fine.
A little angry.
A little angry. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Just a little bit angry.
That's what we signed up for.
Look at this
Sandisk
bounce
rolling over.
too.
That was a good level.
Almost a 1% bounce from that level.
Sandisk is down $9 from the highs of the day. Wow.
Jeez.
Incredible. Micron's kind of holding in there, still down a little bit. AMD inching back down.
It's curious. Bitcoin's pushing back into the parallel, just barely getting in there. So Bitcoin's at least holding all right. Spider's trying to push in this last 10-minute candle. But yeah, AMD is up at the top of the charts. Did I show you that parallel the other day, Gareth?
I don't know if you did. You pop it on your screen. I'll take a look.
All right, check this out. And let me grab here. All right, so check out this parallel on AMD. This goes back to October of 22. So you can see October 22 price action down here. First time price came up on the weekly time frame, intersected with this 50% area of this parallel, consolidated, broke above, came back, bounced right here on this 50% area. You can see it struggled too right on this last attempt. So it tells me that this parallel's pretty decent, and we are right there at the top.
Yep.
I mean, just right there on it. You know, like several cases when I've seen parallels like this, these longer term parallels, I have seen, you know, situations where we could get a little bit of a bull trap, especially if this momentum continues, say if we float up on the spiders a little bit. But this is telling me, just like the spiders, time's up. You know, even though this is a huge rally, and no doubt I think AMD is going to be a big part of this AI data center build out for many years to come, and it will have, you know, good demand. But it looks like all of the good news is in here. And you can even see too, from this inclining trend line that we have here, price broke down. When price usually breaks these trend lines, price likes to go back up and hit the trend line. But with this good news, we surged through it, then sold off under it. Then we've been jockeying back and forth above this trend line. So it's even AMD's chart itself doesn't really know what it wants to do. We've been in breakdown status here. Now we're a break up, break down, break up, break down, and right at the top of the parallel, which you can see that's
that parallel can
241.
be a multi-year high. I mean,
Mhm.
considering if you look back, it was the multi-year lows the last time it hit, was the major lows on that. And just to show you something here too is, I mean, it's right along those lines. Look at NVIDIA, right? I covered
Mhm.
this in the game plan today, but here's your bull market high of 2021. You hit exactly that trend line, just connect those, and then where did NVIDIA top right here?
Yeah.
Right there.
Yep.
And so, you know, yeah, you can, now it's borderline. I mean, it hasn't confirmed a breakdown yet, but it's below that line, that underbelly line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Totally agree.
Hood coming back down, or HIMS
HIMS?
rather. Let's see if we get our fill this time. It's a little lower now. I've lowered my ad. I'm not going to give you my exact level to the penny anymore because you guys don't deserve it after what you did to me. But I've lowered it a little bit, around 52.25, slightly below there. Now, if it bounces off of that, then I'm going to give you a $5 range for my next ad.
$5?
$5 range. Yep, somewhere.
It has to be that wide, so it
around
doesn't
there.
get front
That's
run.
the only way I won't get front run. So let's see.
Yeah.
Come down and fill us, and then pop.
So those of you
One
guys
more. All right, guys. 52.22, 52.22. I've added a 110 position. $52.22 I've added to this position. 52.22. I've added another 110. Now, last time it hit this level, it got a nice bounce. Let's do the same thing. Take half off at our break even. My break even is now around $52.65. Had no problem getting through that level earlier. Let's see if we can get a pop now, get some off the table in the money, and then end up with that profit. My next add on this would be around the $51.50 level, should it come down there, right? Obviously, would love to just see a straight pop up, but just giving you guys that level ahead of time. It's a pierce of 51.50. So that doesn't mean put your orders at 51.51 or 51.52, below there slightly.
There we go. One quick thing I wanted to add to what you were saying on NVIDIA, Gareth. Check this out. I don't know if we discussed this with each other, but we've got a
You have to
weekly
say, but
topping.
wait, there's more.
Yeah, but literally, but wait, there is more. Look at this. Last week, we got a weekly topping tail on NVIDIA. So not only do we have a weekly topping tail, we're at the top of this parallel too. So with both of those factors, both of those things, just as you highlighted with your longer term trend line, Gareth, I mean, now we've got a weekly topping tail to go with it too. That means a lot on the charts. Now gold busted through its weekly topping tail. That occurred back here in April, on April 21st. But it took a lot of consolidation to break through it. And that could be the case with NVIDIA. However, we've got a weekly topping tail right at the top of the charts, at the top of a parallel, with price starting to break down beneath declining trend lines. That's starting to spell at least near to midterm trouble for NVIDIA.
Yep, I agree.
So Gareth, those of the people who are watching who are not part of this, how do they join to get this every day the markets are open?
I mean, just go to verifiedinvesting.com, and we run this room every day when the markets are open. Fridays we do take half days unless we're in a trade, and then we stay all day. It's a lot, maybe here all day. Um, but but in any case, yeah, this is what we do. We're not always in person, obviously, like you guys are watching us, but it is fun to have an audience, and it's pretty cool. And if you guys, listen, if you guys have any questions, raise your hand if you want us to look at a chart or something. If there's something, we can always answer questions while we're looking for trades as well. But verified investing, the live day trading room, Apex live day trading rooms, where it's at. And you can see our track record. By the way, literally every trade we take, it goes in the system, and it goes, when it's closed out, it goes right to the track record on the page, on the live day trading room page. So you can see you can see all our winners, and you can also see our stinkers, right? So it is what it is. Real traders lose money sometimes, It's just we have to win more than we lose. So.
Yeah, we do a pretty good job of trying to have fun in there, keeping it lighthearted. Lawton with his energy, it's always a good time.
Yeah, and I think being a trader can be a very lonely. If you're a day trader, you're sitting behind your screens with no one else, and I think one of the great things is we have the room where people can all come and comment, and we're all together, and it kind of creates the camaraderie of all of us helping each other make money. Members post great setups that we take sometimes. We find great setups, and it's just it's a fun environment to be in for sure. So the question was, do we all do this together in the same office, or are we remote? Generally, it's all in the same office. We have an office in Tampa, and I live part of the time in North Carolina, so I'm remote for a week, then I'm back in the office for a week and back and forth. But otherwise, it's together because honestly, I love being in that office because there's something to be said also when you're in person, right? Versus for the longest time, I ran in the money stocks starting in 2007. We started that company. We ran the live day trading room since 2007. So this very room, it has longevity, and it's pretty remarkable. But my other partners and we were generally always remote, and there's a disconnect. And so, just something about being around people, you can joke a little bit more, you have more fun. We still have fun on here, on our headsets with everyone. But I think being in person, there's something to be said for it as well. So if any of you guys actually do want to come, if you're ever in Tampa and you want to stop by the office and trade, just let us know. We'll make a spot for you. Yeah. In
All
fact,
right.
oh, what were you
Sorry,
saying?
back to my trade. Very exciting trade. 52.65 again, guys, above there. We will be taking half off the table. I saw somebody said that they back run me, so now we're even. I don't know if that's a thing.
I'm not sure if that
I'm
sounds
not
very
sure
good
if
either.
that's a thing, but and usually our trades are a little more exciting than this HIMS trade.
Yeah.
But sometimes they're not. There's this thing that happens, on Fridays, we usually don't trade in the afternoon, but the past, like 20 Fridays, we've had trades go into the afternoon. Let's hope this doesn't happen with HIMS.
Well, that's partly because we've had some decent volatility, right? Especially on last Friday. You
That
got
was
all
good.
of all that price action and moving. And one thing that we've noted too, we rarely are heading out of the office. We love working in the office. We've got a great studio that we produce a lot of our shows in. But either if Gareth has gone on, say, a cruise or done something to go out of town, that's usually when the markets explode. And I've now a seasoned investor and employee with Verified Investing because I went out of town on Friday of last week and I was at the airport when crypto was collapsing. And so I was hopping on my laptop, doing everything I could just to manage some of these trades. And I run a hodler trading service for crypto where I'm scooping up crypto, holding them, primarily targeting cryptocurrencies that we stake. So whenever we have decent declines like that, I'm going to be excited and jump all over it, especially since the crypto market was pushing up, with Bitcoin. Now, a lot of the altcoins haven't really caught as much steam and gas as Bitcoin has. But that volatility is what I thrive on. I want to get into some of these positions at low prices, sit on them, hold them, and then slowly accumulate more and more and more. And for those that don't know, this service, what's great about it, we've geared it to be very similar to how a regular investor would be buying and holding cryptocurrencies. They're going to be contributing X amount of dollars per month, much like they would into a retirement account. And that's how we structured this this service, so that every quarter I'll add $1,500 to my account, roughly about $500 a month, and then we're just searching out cryptocurrencies to target, buy, and hold. That doesn't mean I don't take profit, as we've had 50% winners, 80% winners. Once price gets high enough extended, I'm still going to take some off, maybe retain holding some, and then once those prices decline, then redeploy some of that capital that's been sitting on the sideline, all the while staking my cash in USDC to still get just under 5% APY. So it's a great option for people interested in crypto, interested in getting exposure to crypto, and also interested in trying to get 100% gains, 80% gains on crypto while still maintaining and holding those positions.
That's actually one of my favorite things about that service is that it still employs smart money management. Like a lot of people will hodl and they'll like, no matter what, like an altcoin and they'll ride it up like 1,000% and still hold it. And then it'll dump 99% and they're still holding it. And it's like, at least in your service, you're like, oh, we're up 100%. Let's unstake 50% of this and take profits. And then we'll just, when it collapses, which inevitably you get these cycles in crypto, just like the markets, then you rebuy. And it's just like, so you not only are you getting the staking gains, but then you're just compounding it with actual good trade management, which is very cool, man. Very cool.
Yeah. Hey, thanks. And too, it makes you feel good, when you're accumulating these positions and then you do get up, like you said, 80%, 60% or 100%, you take half off the table. And then that also slightly reduces your average because your accumulated average was all of your buys. And then it actually, you get not only cash in your portfolio, but then it's like, man, now I got a better average too. All right, great. This is just, it's even better. Now my position that was up 80%, I'm up 94%. And I'll sit and wait for that to go lower. And if it does, I'm kind of rooting on it in a weird way because I want to get more of those
Sorry,
coins.
Drew. I got to interrupt you, brother. Getting close to our ad. Just I know he sounds so nice to listen to and so nice to look at too. But Unfortunately, we're still in this hood trade. Remember, guys, below this 51.50 level, I will be adding to this position another 1/10. Below 51.50, right? So not at 51.51, below 51.50. Let's see if I get filled. So far, came 6 cents from my ad, right? Let's see if we can get this fill here and get a nice pop and take some off in the money. 6 cents away.
And again, this is a great example, right? It's something I'll just mention is, and Lawton, definitely interrupt me if you have it. But you know, we look at NVIDIA, and as a trader, one of the things you have to do is psychologically, you have to let things go very, very quickly, right? And a good example of this would be if I throw up my chart here. Can you throw? I don't know if you guys. Yeah, there we go. So if we throw up my chart, where was my entry on NVIDIA? It was right there, like literally a couple pennies above. And you could see like that was an amazing level and it worked out beautifully, but I didn't get filled. And in trading, that's part of a trader's life is you know, you can't be dwelling on that. You just got to be like, okay, let it go and on to the next trade, because there's always another trade coming around the corner. You can't kind of get focused on what you missed or even the losses that we take as traders. You got to just move on to the next one. But yeah, amazing pullback on NVIDIA. I just saw the semis were at lows of the day. Look at this. And a lot, not from pre-market in all fairness, not from pre-market, but lows of the day now. And look at the sell-off coming in here. You know, Lawton, did you let socks go at 399 yet? Because
I'm not saying anything because I'm not gonna say anything.
okay.
We're not even.
Why you got to bring up old stuff, Gareth? Why you got to bring it up?
Hims. I don't want to. Just
as someone that's traded for 26 years, you just got to let it go. Like, all right, it is what it is. On to the next one.
I'm gonna throw this up, and I'm not gonna say anything. Let's just see. I don't want to scare it, so it's not just saying.
Look at that move.
See.
Wild.
Got 5 cents away, but it'll come down right before bouncing $1 billion, right?
So that bear flag on the S&P.
51.50. I need one more flush. All right, guys. 51.47. Okay, there we go. Wow, look at that flush. 51.47. I've added another 1/10 to my position here, bringing our average nicely down. Our average is now $52.25. $52.25. This was our previous ad. If it comes up there, I will remove 2/10 of the position out there. And I have one more ad I would add to this position, but after that, I would put in a stop loss. My last ad would be somewhere around $50.75, right? Somewhere around there, $50.75. So let's just see a nice bounce here. Again, not out of the money very far as far as percentage-wise. We just need to move up. See this. Looking for about 78 cents to our break even. What should we get to our break even? I will be removing 2/10 of the position off the table there. 2/10 of the position off of the table there.
Well, so far it's getting a nice little bounce. I want you to notice the RSI just
The RSI, okay.
Oh my gosh. Look at the R. Yeah, it just dropped below 30, creating a nice RSI divergence. So it's good to see on that chart.
Yeah, let's make sure that let's hope this level is the perfect one. Benjamin Poole is the RSI master. He's the only person on the entire planet that understands RSI. Every single time I think I understand it, I'm like, listen, Ben, it's the RSI is doing this. This is bullish, right? He's like, no. I was like, all right, whatever.
Can you show on your chart the RSI divergence for everyone so they can understand what you're looking at?
Yeah, according to Lawton, people still won't understand, but that's okay. It just maybe it's just him. All right, hold on. Give me 1 sec. Lon, do you still have the screens? Yeah. I've got them now. Okay. So here's what I'm looking at on the RSI divergence. So you have price action that's continuing lower, whereas you see the RSI is moving higher. So that is creating a positive RSI divergence. If it were on the upside, price action was heading higher and the RSI was heading lower, this would be negative RSI divergence. But right now, it's setting up quite nicely. What I really like to see is the price action, or the RSI, did get above the 60 and then fell right into the 30 and got a little bit of a bounce. So now what we're looking for is price action to get back above this $53 level, or $52.50, and then we could see probably a push to 54. If price doesn't get above that level, then it's likely to continue to fall the rest of the day. But that'll be after Lawton gets out of his trade, obviously.
So just out of curiosity on this, how, like, is there a level where if the RSI went up to where you'd be like, okay, now I'm, even if HIMS hasn't bounced significantly, where you would be like, okay, let me take this down or maybe exit? Like, what would the RSI tell you at that point, or what would it need to be doing?
So for me, it's all about the pivots. So when I notice stocks that have the RSI that are continuing lower like this, if it fails to take out that pivot that I was showing you guys, I don't know why my charts aren't loading, but if it doesn't take out that pivot, then it is likely that the price action is going to continue lower. But that's why we try to keep our dollar cost average really close, or our average price close to the current price. So that way we don't need quite as big of a bounce to reduce our share sizes. And then if the RSI or the price action does take out that pivot, we could actually let that stock ride for a little bit longer.
Nice.
So basically, what you're saying is HIMS is supposed to go up, right? From here. Is that what you're saying, Ben?
I'm saying that it's got positive RSI divergence.
Okay, see, I don't understand what that means. Is that going up or down?
I mean, there's divergence saying that the sellers are starting to start to wane. The buyers can now start to push the price action up. Okay. It doesn't guarantee it, right? If we continue lower, obviously it's going to continue lower. Yeah. It's just one indicator that we have. It's not the end all be all. It just gives you an indication of what the likelihood of price action is going to go. But the buyers, I mean, the sellers have to step out of the way, or else the buyers cannot take control.
Okay, you understand why I'm confused, right?
What?
You guys understand why I'm always confused every time I ask this guy about RSI.
No, but the thing is, and this is good for everyone to hear too, is that every indicator, first of all, is not foolproof. There can be things where it fails, or times where it fails, but it's also just one breadcrumb in an overall, like, guidance tool, right? It's saying this is a positive in this chart. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, but if the idea of what we do is we look for multiple factors. So, like, let's say you're getting positive divergence at a double bottom on the chart with a bottoming tail. Well, now you're starting to stack bullish indicators where that can then lead you to say, okay, the odds now are up to, let's say, 75, 80% that this is going to bounce, versus if it's just one indicator, maybe 65, 60%, which, yeah, it favors it a little bit, but not to the extent where, and again, that just goes back to stack as many indicators as you can if you're looking to get in a day trade, a swing trade, whatever it may be. So yeah, the idea is it's one breadcrumb, right?
Absolutely. And if you've only got the RSI, you're never going to know where to actually institute the trade in the first place. Because you have to have support, you have to have that psychological level that people or the buyers are sitting if you're going to end up going long. Because just because the RSI is telling you it's going lower, it doesn't mean that there's a bunch of people who are stacked at that very position who are willing to buy this thing up. And so, yeah, you still have to have support and resistance with any indicator that I use, or else you're flying blind.
Good example of indicators. If we can flip over to my screen here. One of the things I was just looking at, I was just out of curiosity as Nvidia's falling, I was saying to myself, okay, well, where could it find support? And you can see I put the Fibonacci, I did the Fibonacci retrace on this, so I'll do it for you guys here so we can all see. So you take the low to the recent high, right? So this is, by the way, I'm using pre-market, which is kind of interesting because a lot of people don't. I will use pre-market only if there's volume. And because it was a big drop in pre-market, there was volume early in the morning on Nvidia. And you can see right here, it's kind of come into the 382, and notice the 382 is also this pivot area right here. And so that tells me there's some support there. Now, it's not a big enough pullback for me to get out of bed and take this trade. But then I start saying, okay, well, if it continues down, potentially look at the level here, right? We have the 50% fib retrace aligning with this little pullback zone right here. And so the point being is, at a certain point, when you have the factors aligning and maybe it's a big enough pullback on Nvidia, you can then say, okay, now I have enough breadcrumbs where the odds, the probabilities of success have been raised, and it is worth a trade here, right? And that's what you're always, as a trader, you're always balancing risk versus reward and probability of success. Those are the key factors or the key metrics. And you want to have the probability as high as you can with the risk as minimal as you can, obviously. And that's why if I was going to go long, I want to see this come in more. Not, even though there's a decent level at the 382, there's two factors there, but it's only a small pullback. The more extended it gets, the more likely you get the rubber band effect, the snapback, right? And that's really where, again, it's that risk reward assessment with the combination of charts. So just some cool stuff there on Nvidia to take a look at. Now crickets. Just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, we're just sitting below,
Silence.
just sitting below my last ad. Again, $50.75. That will be my final ad, and I'm going to institute a stop loss. I'll give you those levels should it hit. Of course, I'd just like to see a nice push up from here. But again, for a stock down 13%, not really moving a whole lot. 30 million shares traded already.
Let me know, Ryan.
Is it on? Is that mic working?
Now I feel awkward.
It's okay. Not on the spot.
I don't know if you want to give out the information. I was wondering where your stop level was and how you came out with it. I noticed you keep adding to your position as it's going down. Do you base your stop off of like a percentage loss or a dollar loss, or you came up with a stop before you entered the trade?
Absolutely. So for me, and it depends on all of our traders here. For me, I generally make between $2,000 and $3,000 per trade when there's a lot of volatility, right? And my win rate's somewhere around the high 80s to low 90s. So I know that my max loss is based on a dollar amount in this case. I'm looking for around 7 to 8K max loss for me, just so I know that, okay, I'll take a loser here, but I can make that up in 3-4 trades. And with my win rate the way it is, I should be net positive. So that's how I found it out. And it really depends on a bunch of different stocks as well, right? If I'm entering a position because, let's say, there's a head and shoulders pattern, if my thesis is invalidated, I'll stop out, right? That's a little different. For this, as HIMS is coming down towards my next ad, it's more on a dollar amount in this case. Right?
You don't have like a level picked out from support from a few days ago or something like that?
No, not for this. Sometimes I do, but for this particular trade, I don't.
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think there's multiple ways as a trader to do it, right? I mean, you can look at that. One of the issues I've found is that oftentimes you'll pierce a level that's support, and you'll be like, "Oh crap, I got to stop out," and then they'll bounce it back above, which is where the confirmation signal comes in, where you really want to see a confirmed breakdown. The problem with that is that by the time it confirms below the level, it could be a much, much, much bigger loss too. And so it's really tricky there, where you're kind of like dancing around and trying to figure out where the best way to exit the trade is, and that's one of the things that each trader has to figure out. Right. And that's what Lawton does is and a lot of us do is like we say, all right, well, what's our average, what's our average win rate over a year? So we know, okay, if we win 85% of all trades, so that's 85 out of 100 winners, which means 15 are going to be losses. And then how do we factor in if each one of those losses is, let's say, 3,000, and we want to make sure at the end of the year of that many trades, we always have a good gain in that. And the idea is obviously, hopefully, we improve as traders over time as well, getting better and better. But yeah, very, very interesting and good kind of. But I think it's great for all traders to just have like a max loss in their mind, right? Like, no matter what, and that's where I've gotten burned. I've gotten burned so many times, and even to this day, occasionally, things get out of my realm. Sometimes you just, as a trader, it's very hard as humans to say, "Yep, I was wrong," right? And you always want to say, "But what if it just bounces the next, the next down tick or the next," and then before you know, you're like, "Oh crap, I'm down X amount." Um, it's one of the hardest things. In fact, I always say to people is that I could teach anyone to trade, meaning on a technical basis. It's very much black and white. Like this is a support level, this is resistance, this is a bottoming tail, right? There's definitions that all of that show. What I can't teach is that discipline of like cutting that loss. Like we all as traders and investors have to just be like, all right, this is where I'm going to be and where I'm going to cut that point. That's great. Do you guys have
Yeah,
any
so
other questions? Oh yeah. What?
one thing to add on this hymns, that $50.70 around there level for an ad, right? It's also support. It's a pivot low from Thursday, right? In this case, it lines up. It's a support level along with like my last ad. So if that level breaks, there's two factors there, a couple of factors there for my stop being there in this case, but sometimes it's based on max portfolio. In this case, it's just lucky that they just happen to line up. But yeah, so that's what I was about to say. For my next ad, I would add a little bit more because I know from there I have a tight stop, right? So in this case, we're in a 3/10 position, I believe, right? So about 30% of our day trading portfolio. I'd add 2/10, right, so that we become half committed, and I'd play with a really tight stop here. Of course, hopefully, this thing just rips, right? I'd love for that to happen. But this is the reality, right? You're not going to win every single trade, and it's not necessarily about how many wins you can get, but rather like how tight you can cut your losses. So that's what I'm trying to do here. I would love to put up a win for you guys. So let's hope that doesn't happen, but we'll see. We'll see.
Good. All right, go ahead.
So my question was, I see you set parameters for everything real tight, whether you this penny away. So chasing something is not a good idea, I would assume.
Yeah, that's another great question because it's something that all of us as traders we always deal with, right? Is like, oh darn, we missed. I mean, look at how many times today we missed getting filled by a penny. Part of that is that we run a room with 500 plus traders in there, and there's always going to be some percentage that if we say we're getting in at this level, they're going to be like, oh well, I'll get one penny better, right? And so that's just something we as traders have to accept that that's going to happen. But what I've always found is that when you're a trader, you have to remain to be like the most disciplined because as soon as you start compromising that discipline, it's a slippery slope. And you might say, okay, well, I'll just do a penny above. And then all of a sudden you're not getting filled there. Okay, I'll do 3 cents above or 5. Before you know it, you're just getting in with no level there at all just because you kind of think it's not going to go to your level. And so for traders, I say like, listen, just accept the fact that that's going to happen sometimes. Just like sometimes my levels, I'll get in right at my level and it'll go another dollar lower. And I'm like, oh crap, it works both ways, right? I also think it kind of ultimately evens out. Like sometimes you don't get filled and it bounces. Sometimes it goes lower and you get filled and then so it kind of all works itself out. But once we start compromising that discipline, the discipline is the most important thing for a trader. Because the market's literally, I mean, most of us out there, we don't get to see or we don't understand what's going on the institutional side, but they've literally built algorithms that are looking to push us retail investors to our extremes where we throw in the towel, right? Where we're either chasing and they're like, oh, well, we'll only drop it here and then we'll bounce it because we know there'll be X amount of people that jump on board and then we'll flush it, right? And then vice versa. They know there's X amount of people in a trade And they're like, well, where can we push this to make those people give up? And then as soon as they give up, we're going to take it in that direction. I mean, this is the world we live in. And unfortunately, AI is only going to make that trickier. And so the discipline is everything. It really is. Yeah, it's crazy.
And back to Hims, take a look at this, guys. We saw a nice push up. I had this beautiful kind of down sloping trend line, just like the one I talked about previously. If we can break above this trend line, you saw how I connected the pivot here to this pivot here. If we can break up and out of that, I expect to get at our break even and take some off in the money. Again, I'm going to take two out of my 3/10 off at slightly in the money, slightly in the money, right? We're even though we're sitting, right where we basically just added last, I like this position more just because, again, this beautiful down sloping trend line. And we just really want to see a nice bounce up from here. Ben, look at the RSI. Is this bullish?
I was just gonna say, are you sure that you're not liking this more and more because it's giving you better positive RSI divergence?
Yeah,
No?
I don't even know what that means, but I mean, if he likes it, I like it, right? So,
Yeah, it's looking good. Nice break of a down sloping trend line. I like that.
average on Hims again is $52.25. You see that up there. You can see my average, my position size, my current P&L, as well as a couple other things. Like you can see our stats. Ben is winning for the past 30 days. He's made a lot of money, almost 64K in the last 30 days. Pretty nice. I know.
The baton goes back and forth. We all have our hot streaks, and then the market has to remind us who's boss.
And it's always when we're on a hot streak. We're at wheels, black, black, black. You're like, yes, black, black, black. Red. Damn it. This was it too.
Well,
and it
when I
humbles
first
you.
started trading, I remember my first my first week, I made like $2,000 on like a 50K account. I was like, dude, if I can just do this 300 days out of the year, I'm gonna be a gajillionaire. I went to the mall. And I was walking around. I was like, dude, I can just spend $1,000 and I'm good. I just make that back up tomorrow. I remember being like, okay, this is so easy. So then I spent like $500 on something. Then the next week I lost like $6,000. Like, all right, this is not fun anymore.
Yeah, that's what's crazy about being a trader is that sometimes you get in a groove and it is just like you're just like, man, I can't believe that I'm so blessed to be a trader and like, the amount of money you can make, some in general to be able to make $3,000 to $5,000 a day trading is just, I mean, who else is making that type of money? I mean, very few people in the world. But then at the same time, when the market humbles you, it can be brutal. Like everything can align on a chart, and you can be the most confident, and it could be the one trade that just does exactly the opposite. And I'm sure we've all experienced that. We think we're getting in, and everything just makes total sense, and the market can be like, nope, not this time. And that's where, to be honest, that's where exiting, figuring out, your exit is, right? Where do you cut it at that point? You know.
Yes. Sometimes you get hit with backlogs, and the stock just keeps ripping. I got into an OK low trade, and I thought that the price was going to pull back at a certain price, and then all of a sudden they came out with their earnings, and then that's when I ended up getting in. And then all of a sudden they have $40 billion in backlogs, and so that thing just kept ripping. Now it's even lower than it was when I first got in. It was a wild ride though.
So the question is, do we trade the same tickers all the time, or do we trade what's most relevant? And really the key for us as traders is we'll trade anything that has volume. So volume is number one, because the one thing, and this I learned, I still remember vividly where I was like, it was a small caps. This is when I was a new trader, and the small caps were ripping at this time. I don't remember if it was 99 2000 or if it was like one of the other bull cycles, but I had in my small account and I like bought 15,000 shares of a dollar stock, right? It was like $1.03, and it started to go up and it was like 5 cents in the money. But the problem was that if I sold it, you have a bid and an ask. If I sold it, the person on the bid was like five, it might break even. And I'm like, and they were only asking to buy like 1,000 shares and I had like 10,000 or 15,000 shares. I'm like, oh crap. Like now, if I want to get out of this, I'm literally going to take a loss by dumping it. And if I don't get out of it, then I can't trade the next day because I'm stuck in a position, right? And so liquidity is definitely the most important to make sure that you have the volume there to support your entry and your exit. And then really it comes down to whatever's moving for the day. And so, sometimes it'll be the S&P, sometimes Apple, sometimes Nvidia, sometimes stocks, or a lot of times stocks. But again, lately the semis have been moving a lot. And then sometimes it'll just be like a firm or SoFi because they had earnings, right? And so I think what's so cool about technical analysis is that, you know, if you learn the methodology that we trade by is, it doesn't matter what stock it is. There's trading opportunities there, but you do need the volatility. And the volatility is key because essentially it's us as traders versus other traders in the world or investors, and you're looking for irrationality. That's really what you're looking for in the chart. When a chart gets too extreme, it's going to have a reversion trade, and we're reversion traders, right? We look for hit a massive move up, it hits resistance and it pulls back, or it drops significantly, hits support and bounces. And so you want people to get so crazy about that stock that it essentially hits resistance and they're just starting to panic and selling, which drives it down on the short side for us. So I think again, for the most part, it's volatility and volume, and we'll trade anything. That's exactly what we're looking to do. Like the biggest gainers, the losers, and then just kind of like over time, I think we all accumulate a watch list of like, we'll look at the Magnificent Seven. That'll give us an idea, and these other type of plays out there that generally move. And we just scan the market, what's moving, what's rallying into resistance and support. Yeah. Yeah.
I was going to say one thing. So it's not just pre-market. I also look at what happened in the market the previous day. So most of my RSI trade of the day show is based on the price action that happened the previous day, because there's a lot of information you can gather. For example, HIMS is staying really negative on the RSI today, and so come Monday it should flush out a little bit. But because the price action had been so suppressed all day today, that it's likely to snap back and get a really good bounce tomorrow or on Monday when the market opens. And so again, if Lawton ends up exiting this trade, then I'm going to look at going long tomorrow. Well, not today though, because the market sentiment is negative, right? So the RSI is keeping it down, or the price action is staying down, and the RSI is staying low on the charts, which means that the price action is likely to go down unless we can start taking out some high pivots, which means that Monday, the sellers will still be there, most likely in the morning. And then if we can get a flush out right by the open, if I can get a good support level, I'll actually go long, even though it's only down like 2 or 3%. So it's not just the pre-market, but it's also looking at what happened the previous day, intraday. And I use the 1-minute charts when I look at that. And so, yeah, a couple different ways you can play it.
All right, guys, we're getting close to this ad, right? My ad's going to be right below $50.71. And then I'm going to implement a stop loss. I'll tell you my stop loss should it come down and get filled. We still haven't broken above this kind of downsloping trend line. But again, it's going to be a 2/10 ad just below $50.71. See if we can get that fill and then bounce up. If not, it is what it is. Take a small loser and then move on to the next trade. I got really close from my ad, about 4 cents away. See if I get this fill here. All right, guys, $50.71. I've just added $50.71. I've added a 2/10 position to this. I'm going to half position. Now I'm implementing a stop loss. My stop loss is going to be tight. It's going to be around $50.65. So let's see if it comes down there. We'll stop out and move on to the next trade. Hit $50.65. All right, I stopped out, guys. Fortunate to take a loser, but I'm out of this trade. $50.65. I've stopped out of this trade. Wanted to put up a winner for you guys. Got so close from our exit, about 20 cents away. Got close to that last ad, about a $9,000 loss. But I mean, we'll make that back up in a couple of trades.
Yeah, that's real trading for you. I mean, it's not always easy, not always easy to do. So yep, that's and it looks like it wants to. Looks like the RSI wasn't. I was kidding.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
I'm just messing with you, man.
This is why there's
Yep,
only
that's
one
fair.
indicator, right? That's is why it's all a probabilities game. I mean, that's all it is, right? As long as we can bat 70 above 75, even 80 to 90%, then we'll take the probabilities all day, every day.
Absolutely. All right, guys, I think we're going to cut it here. It's almost noon, so let's close down for the day. And yeah, it's get back right to work on Monday morning. Monday morning, we'll be right in the live day trading room here, and we'll look forward to seeing you all there. So have a great rest of your day and weekend. And we're here from The Money Show, and we'll be walking around here in The Money Show and talking to people. But for you guys that are watching at home or listening in as part of the room, we bid you a wonderful weekend and to take care. Have a good one, guys.
Have a great weekend, guys.
Have a good one, folks. Take care.
Bye.